the conversations or the hype around AI has focused on technological development or maybe hyperbole about replacement or existential threat. And we think that there's the wrong focus there. It's about mobilizing different resources of intelligence that we have in society. And specifically at the Center for Collective Intelligence Design, we think about how we can use artificial intelligence as one of the many tools in your toolbox to help make better decisions or better predictions or to generate new types of solutions when you're trying to solve problems. And we're interested in thinking about how specifically machines can be used to enhance and scale collective human efforts.
I think the biggest opportunity is the ability to sift through the noise. I think AI can help to augment collective intelligence and human endeavours by helping us work out what's important and what isn't important, to crunch through the seemingly endless amount of data we have these days and help to top up human capability rather than replace it. And I think that AI really presents opportunities to uncover patterns and correlations that we're not currently able to do through lack of capacity in terms of the velocity of data, the speed of data, the amount of data.
The main opportunity is to think about how individual human social interactions and social capacities can be improved. And by that, I mean things like mind modeling. So how a system can help us better predict the emotions, beliefs, decisions, intentions of our sort of common people, so who we're interacting with, people in our social network. And then how they might also improve our emotional intelligence, so how we detect the emotions of other people. And then sort of by having that awareness, how we can improve our communication to other people.
Whether it be the level 0 of use of collective intelligence would be in crowdsourcing, and there is a lot of that already in citizen science, and etc. And that provides data for training algorithms in projects where there is not the gigantic data you would otherwise find if you were a tech giant. So that's one aspect. But there is also another one around the impact of AI. The impact of AI and of any tech is driven by the human intentions. Tech in itself is not a solution. Its impact is going to be driven by how it's being used as a society. And for that's where collective intelligence and how we design the incentives around human actions will really, really condition whether AI will be a catastrophe or, on the contrary, a real useful tool and success.
I think that there's a lot of really boring tasks that one has to perform on a daily basis, or things that if you want to get something done, there's things that are quite repetitive. Those things that are kind of like not really taking the full potential of the human being. And so like if you're able to sort of like put those to the machine and actually free up people to use their full potential to do other things, I think that there is a lot of, there's just amazing possibilities.
I think the biggest challenge is avoiding homogeneity through AI. I think the way most AI systems are built, it's to maximize the majoritarian view and to present a homogeneous view of a particular issue or of a particular community. And so building diversity into AI and inclusivity is really the challenge, I think. And that comes in part through a diverse workforce, which doesn't exist at the moment. So the AI pipeline is heavily dominated by a homogeneous community itself. And that means that diverse perspectives are being missed from the technical development of AI, as well as its deployment.
The sort of obvious one is privacy. So even what I was describing as an opportunity comes with taking a lot of personal data about both you and the people in your social network. And how that data is stored, how that data gets used, or how it might be used poses a lot of risks. But besides that, I think an area of concern that maybe gets sort of overlooked is what philosophers call cognitive atrophy. So the idea that by continuing to rely on our devices as ways of extending our own cognitive capacities, we'll start to lose some of our own. And sort of the obvious, sort of clear example of this is things like memory. So we tend to offload a lot of information we used to have to remember internally onto our devices now.
Some are around, well, the tech savior syndrome, which is, hey, stand back, we're gonna save the world with AI, and then you end up making tools that are technically fantastic and scientifically fascinating, but have side effects that were really not expected. Another one is around obviously there's the surveillance impact of AI, which makes sense of data at scale. And here there is a need for collective intelligence as monitoring the use of AI.
There's some challenges as to is the data actual neutral, right? And what is the data? Because what happens is that these algorithms and these models, they become decision-making machines, and oftentimes they're just a black box. And so depending on which data you used to train it, right, you don't know exactly what's happening. And so, for example, I think that a lot of people have been bringing up how they're starting to use them, for example, to judge cases, right? And they're basically using data that is biased. And so I think that when we don't think about the consequences of automating certain things to models, to artificial intelligence, we might come to a point where that decision making is just reproducing injustices, and it's bringing them just to the forefront, and it's technology, it's neutral when it's actually not. So I think that that's a big problem.
Like any tech, if you want to create something that's useful, you want to understand clearly the user, you want to understand clearly the context in which it is going to be used. And social scientists have all the skills of analysis of human systems, of field reporting, to really see the bigger picture. So that's one aspect, but this is very restrictive. Another aspect, which is broader, is also, as social scientists, looking at AI, not just helping AI from within, but also looking at it and catching when its applications are starting to have these nefarious or unintended side effects.
Mozilla has a team that is working on machine learning. It's mostly around voice and speech. And so what we have is models for speech to text and for text to speech. And so to recognize and to synthesize speech. And that is where data actually plays an important role, because your model can only be as good as the data that you are using to train it. And that's why, apart from having this machine learning team working on these models, we also have a team that put together a platform to crowdsource voice data from the public. The project is called Common Voice. And so it's basically a platform that you can just go on a website, and you can donate your voice. So you're basically asked to read a sentence and record your voice. And at the same time, we ask you to listen to other people's voices and confirm that what you hear is what you see. And by doing that, which is fairly simple, what you're doing is you're helping us create a data set that we will be then able to use to train a model.
The sort of core team that I'm with at the Leverhulme Center for the Future of Intelligence is on a program called Kinds of Intelligence. And in that program, it's kind of an interdisciplinary team. So some machine learners, some comparative psychologists, some philosophers like myself. And we're working to try to figure out ways to compare notions of intelligence across all sorts of animals, all the way up to humans and machines. So, for example, when you hear AI described as creative, what does that mean, and how does that compare to the creativity we see in monkeys, apes, dolphins, but also things like memory and generality and other core concepts.